Yo, what's up? So, in this video, I want to talk about this idea I had for an app when I was younger. And I actually built this app, I just never launched it. And I was actually talking to my wife earlier today. I was, hey, remember that app that I built? And she's like, nah. So, I guess I didn't really tell a lot of people about it. I'm pretty sure I told her. Knowing me, I probably told a lot of people about it, but people just don't remember. But here's the app idea I had. Oh, yeah, so I built this app when I was like probably late 20s. I was living in SF at the time. I didn't build it myself. I don't know how to program, but I paid someone like a couple $1,000s to build it, some dude from India. And he actually built a working web app, and I just never really got anyone to use it because I just built it and like I couldn't figure out how to be able to use it. But here's the idea. I still think it's really good. I kind of outgrew it, but you can let me know how you think about this idea. So the problem that I had was I'm like in my late 20s. I'm living in SF at the time, right? During that time, you're just like going out a lot, on the weekends, just getting drunk and like hanging out with a lot of people. Your social circle is like really big and loose, I guess. And I had a lot of friends that lived nearby me. But the problem is like hitting someone up to hang out is kind of a lot of work, right? It's like a big commitment. And then the downside is like, yo, what if that person's busy and they can't hang out? Then do I ask them to hang out again next week? Or is it weird if I ask someone to hang out like 3 weeks in a row and they're always busy, right? And also it's like, okay, what if I want to do something tonight, but then I have like 3 different groups of friends, like, and I ask one person, do I have to wait for him to respond, or then do I gotta go ask the other person? Do I do it all at the same time and cancel? Like, how does that work, right? So there's like a lot of like tiny little aspects of like asking someone to hang out, asking friends to hang out. And then I think for me, I also was kind of new to SF, so I didn't have like a consistent group of people I hung out with. I had like groups of friends that I was like kind of friends with that I would hang out with, but like I wasn't in like that main group, if you would. Like my good friends like didn't live in SF. So for all these reasons, I was like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we had this app where you can, when you're free, you just select on the people you're down to hang out with right now, and then if they also happen to select on you, then it just lets you guys know and you guys are down to hang out, right? So that's the app, right? So it's like I could like, what if I want to hang out but I want to make the plans, but there's like 8 people in SF that I want to hang out with, and I just like tap on their names, right? And then like if they happen to tap on me too, it's like, oh, like the connection's already made. There's no like planning, or there's no like asking whether or not you're free to hang out or you want to hang out. It's just like automatically done. So that was the idea. I built it, and then I just like never got around to using it. I still think it's a good idea. Obviously, at my age, like I think at 30, 35, you're like your social schedule is like set by your wife, and it's also set like 3 months in advance. So there's just so much like randomness of this. But I think at the late 20s, like mid 20s age, I think it's a really good idea. Although, yeah, no one ever got. I never used it. There was another app that like was developed at the same time that my friend's friend was making. It was called Down to Lunch, and it'd be the same thing except like once you hit somebody, it just texts that person letting them know that they're free. And then every day I'll get a text from the same guy saying, "Hey, this guy's free to have lunch with you." And I was like, I don't think that works because now that guy's like constantly texting me. I'm like, this guy's always available. So it's like I kind of like. It's not that I don't want to hang out with him as much. It's just like it's not as like cool when he's like texting you every day, right? So that was an app that I didn't think was a good idea because of the secret aspect of it. And keep in mind, this is like, I think at this time, I think dating apps were a thing, but they were like kind of just starting to get popular. So yeah, I'm not sure how people hang out today, but anyways, that's my idea. I made the app. I never used it, and I wasted like a couple $1,000s. So here's what I learned from building this app that I never used. And also, I guess with some experience I have from doing a startup, if I were to go back and do it, there'd be a couple things I would redo. So one is the app was built, and then it had like texting capability, it had like messaging capability in it, and it had like a bunch of stuff in there that never really got used. I think the core function of that app is basically being able to just select someone and let them know that you're available. So like all the other extra stuff that we built that never got used, I don't think we need to build that because it wasn't really necessary. The core function was basically just letting someone know that you're free, and them letting know that you're free without knowing ahead of time. So you didn't really need to get that chat function. And then also looking back, I should have gotten like a group of friends to all use it, right? And like walk them through it and like hold their hand through it and just get them to see if it's actually useful, right? And then that will help give me the confidence to actually go out and like market it. So yeah, that was my app idea. I still think it's a good idea. Like I would totally use it if I was younger and in the city. But let me know how you feel about that idea. I guess I talked to a couple people about it. I'm not sure people liked it. I still think it's a good idea. And that kind of so talking about this kind of made me rethink about this other website that I made when I was younger. I think this was even before that. I think this came second. So I made this website when I was like probably 26 or 27. It was called Textwar.com, and it was this algorithm that I wrote, which calculates how long you should wait to text a girl back, right? So like back then, it's like, you're like dating, you meet a girl, she texts you, you text her, she texts you, you text her, and then like there's like a time period in between, right? It's like I texted her at 4, and she waited like 3 hours to get back to me. If I text her like right away, then she's like, yo, this guy's like just waiting for me to text her back, right? So you gotta play the game a little bit. So this would actually calculate how long you should wait to text this girl back, and then it was basically based on how good looking you think you are, how good looking you think that girl is, and then like how much you like her, and vice versa. And then it would add like a weight system, right? To how long you should wait. So basically, the uglier you are, the longer you need to wait, right? And the better looking you are, or the less you like her, the less time you need to wait. Anyways, I built that website. I put it on Reddit. It blew up, and I got like 100,000 visitors. And then like basically the website server that I was paying for, like couldn't handle the traffic, so it kept like crashing. And then eventually, it kind of died down, and it got some visitors. It was costing me money to run it, and then eventually I was like, all right, fuck it, I don't want to pay for it anymore, so I just kind of shut it down. So, thinking back about that experience, what I should have done differently was a few things. One is I should have collected emails, right? I should have collected like users, like that were recurring, so I could like market to them later. I didn't do that. I shouldn't have worried too much about like the domain, because I could have hosted this on like a like a free like a blogspot.textwar or whatever, right? And got free hosting. But I really wanted my own domain, right? And then I wasn't super technical, so like I didn't get for like the most expensive one, and it was just a hassle. So I couldn't handle all the traffic. So I like, for example, Wordle was built off like some random domain, right? But they still were able to sell the company, and like they didn't even own Wordle.com, right? So actually, if your product is good, like the domain doesn't even really matter, right? So that's something I learned. I also had a lot of data, so I had information like, okay, like how good looking are you? How much do you like this girl? How much does she like you? Etc. Etc. So you can see like, okay, like how much time are people having to wait to get that text back? So you can see like, okay, if this girl's ugly, like let's say you're an ugly girl and you're like putting this information in, like how long does this girl have to wait? And then I had like a lot of data. Also, ugly girls need to wait longer. Like uglier girls like better looking guys. The uglier guys like better looking girls. Whatever. I had a lot of data, right? So then I could have I made this really, really long blog post on analyzing all that data. I just put it out there. But what I should have done, I should have like made really, really small bits of content, like one little nugget of data, and just put it out there, and like, did it slowly. And keep in mind, this is like before like TikTok or before like Snapchat even. Or maybe Snapchat was around, but this is like before like people had no like attention span. So yeah, so like I just made one long blog post, and that was it. And then people read it, people didn't read it, but then like, I never was able to monetize on that traffic. So then I just like I kind of just gave up after a while. And then after a while, like I didn't want to pay for the hosting anymore, so I just shut it down. So I didn't make any money from that, and I probably could have. So that's kind of what I learned there. I'm sure the market's like super different now. Like I'm not really sure how people like social media is like way bigger now. So not really sure if what I learned is helpful to you in any way, because there's like a whole nother world out there that I don't quite understand anymore. But that's something I guess I want to talk about. Oh yeah, also this is way before like the whole like trans or gender thing was a thing. So like I remember I had like assumed that if you're a guy you were talking to a girl, and if you're a girl you're talking to a guy. And then like I remember getting a message like, oh, you should make this for like more inclusive or whatever. And then from a business point of view, I was like, yo, like it took me so long to make this website and figure out how to like make these two aspects. Like figuring out another level of like complexity is like way too difficult. So like just from that perspective, it's like, hey, I'm not trying to not be inclusive, but at the same time, like it's like a lot of work, and I'm not getting paid for this, so it's not gonna happen. So yeah, so I guess like nowadays making stuff like that, you have to be a lot more thoughtful. But yeah, that's kind of my app idea that I never built. So curious to know if you guys think this app's a good idea. I actually think not the texting one. I know that one's a good idea. The other one, the hangout one. I think it's a good idea. I think people will like it. It's just that it's hard to like get people to use an app. All right, see ya.